Hey Kimitri team members. For those of you who have not met me, my name is Scott and welcome to swim clinic number 1. Hopefully there will be a few more swim clinics and we can see you guys in person. I'm not sure if I'm going to make recordings of every clinic, but this was the first one. We had a bit of fun, so I thought I'd make a recording and pass it on to those people who were there. So first things first, disclaimer. Things that I'm going to show you in this video are accessible everywhere. I used them when I used to swim, when I used to coach many years ago, and I'll explain that in a moment. But yeah, normal disclaimers: don't swim by yourself, don't swim when you're drunk, and don't chase that fish that we saw in the dam the other day on the video. Use these skills, take it easy, learn to use them properly. Don't try to do too much all at one time. First things first, a little bit about me. So like I said, my name is Scott. I've done some triathlon before. Many years ago, I've come out of retirement and did my first half Ironman in Durban, and then joined Kimitri afterwards and did my second half tri at Mossel Bay. Before that, many years ago, when I had much more hair, I used to race for Britain, doing triathlon in the Olympic distance. It was 1500 meter swim, 40k cycle, 10k run, so shorter than the half. Did a number of world champs and European champs and got a few medals out of those. But whilst I was in the UK, I noticed a chap swimming in the pool where I was training, and he swam really well. And I literally asked him, I said, "Hi Andrew, can you help me to swim better?" And together we created a triathlon training club, T3 Performance, and we started teaching people how to swim. I'm a teacher by profession. I've got a few qualifications in triathlon under the British Triathlon Board, but I've never been a swim coach. So the things I'm passing on are from experience and from videos I've watched and the lessons that I've been to. So the first session is swim faster with less effort, and that's the crux of it. The whole idea behind improving our swimming, and it's done with 2 simple things, which we'll look at later. But firstly, I want to go on a little Zen trip and everything about yourselves and being calm around the pool or the dam where we're swimming. So the first thing is, most people are petrified of the water. Lots of things can happen in the water and it's pretty scary, but what we try to do is build your confidence, your calmness around the water. And one of the first things we get people to do, pretty much like that, is to climb into the pool, feel the water on your skin, feel the temperature, get used to it, splash like a little kid, and then with your goggles on, not like this chap, sit underneath the water, hold your breath and sit and watch the environment you're in. Not a lot of us do that. We just get into the pool, we swim, and off we go. So we get you to sit on the back for as long as you can. Okay, the best way to do that is to blow the bubbles out of your nose, the air out, so you stay down. Most people go down and just come back up. So sit down, slowly blow some bubbles out of your nose, and that's something we want to work on for swimming freestyle, is exhaling through our nose. And we'll talk about that in a bit of a moment. So the whole thing with getting comfortable with the water is that you are confident in the water. So if you're not confident, before you even come to the pool, picture yourself coming to the pool, opening the gate, whatever system you go through to get to the pool, and feeling confident about it. Picture you swimming, picture yourself getting out and having a great swim, so that there's that confidence already before you get there. The other thing about the calmness is, when it comes to doing drills are very specific. And the idea is not to hammer them out unless it's a speed drill. Okay? The idea is to be calm, do the drill properly. Technique is everything in triathlon because that's what we fall back onto. Swimming, definitely. Our biking, okay, if it's not going or the wind's too strong or whatever, we get into our technique. Okay? Hunker down, time trial bars, hide underneath it if you can. Try to be the most streamlined to go forward. Running, okay? Being efficient, having a good running technique helps us go further and doesn't expend as much energy. So technique is important. So when it comes to these drills, I want you to take your time doing them. Make sure that you're doing them correctly, okay, whichever drill you're doing, but it's not rushed. You can go and rush the main section of your swim set. If you've got a swim set that you're doing, you can do the main section as fast as needs to be and improve your times and stuff. But the drills, the technique is vital. The second thing I want to just chat about before we go into the actual swimming faster is body awareness. Okay. And what I mean by this is knowing what your body is doing in the water, all the different parts at the same time, because as you know, it's quite technical. So arms, legs, bum up, head down, entry, catch, pull, exit, all these sort of things have to happen at the same time. And our body's quite in tune with that. We have sensors that do that. So, skin, when we get in, that's the first thing we feel in the water. There's a temperature and stuff like that, but there's other sensors. And I asked the guys when they went down to Mossel Bay and they got in the water, what's the first sense that they kind of had? And most of them was taste, okay, the seawater. And it brings you right back and you're in the sea and stuff. Others could be the smell of the water, the sight of the water, waves, no waves, which excited them, okay, and then the touch. But we actually have a sixth sense, and that's proprioception. Now, if you're not sure what proprioception is, that is the perception or awareness of the position and movement of your body. So what I wanted everyone to do, and I told them to bring a book, and you can try this at home if you want, is take a book and you hold it out in front of you like this. Okay, there you go. And then you close your eyes. And for the first exercise, you just release one hand and touch your nose. And then put it back on the book. Pretty straightforward. And you pretty much put it in the right position. Okay. Second exercise with your eyes closed is to touch your nose. But instead of going back, pat your head. Touch the back of your head. Then pat yourself on the back a couple of times. And when you're ready, put your hand back on the book. And chances are you won't put it back exactly in the same position. Okay? So proprioception is something that our body does. It knows where we are. And a good example is if we're walking around at nighttime and the lights and then ESCOM hits and the lights go off, you still know where everything is to walk around the chairs because our mind takes a picture of the last thing. If you stare at this screen now and then close, you'll see which way my hands were, okay? Whether they're open or closed. Our mind takes a picture of the last thing that it sees for a couple of seconds so that we can move on. But as it goes further down, like the more exercises I did, it kind of loses that picture, okay? So that's why when we swim, we use proprioception to help us, okay? It takes a picture when we lift our heads and see where we're sighting. That's why most people can go in the correct direction. It's because they got a picture of it. They've looked, they're going. However, sometimes we go like this, and it's not normally the sighting. It's our body and our swimming technique. So is one arm going stronger than the other when we're pulling? Okay, are we kicking? Are we leaning? All sorts of things, right? But the two things I want us to be aware of in this Zen kind of moment is our body awareness. Our body is aware of where we are, how we're swimming, how we're floating, where we are in the water, what's touching us. All right, enough about all of that. Okay, we're going to head on to the 2 ways to swim faster. 2 ways, and the 2 ways are reduce your drag and increase your propulsion. Simple. Okay, so what is drag? Okay, so drag is the force that pushes against us when we're moving forward. Okay, and there can be a number of factors that influence it. If we're in a car, it's our wheels on the floor. If we're on the bike, it's the wind. If we're in the water, it's the water. Okay, so we want to work on reducing our drag through 2 things: our body position and being streamlined. Now, body position is controlled by one thing, and that is your head. I often tell the story. I was at Old Ed's gym, and I was on the treadmills at the top, and that was the second layer, and the pool was underneath. And there was a lovely lady that was doing backstroke very well. I was impressed with her technique. She came past me, and then she went that way. And when she went that way, okay, I went that way because my head followed her. My body followed my head. I hit the side of the treadmill off the back, and the guys just ripped me the whole time. You were looking at someone, weren't you? Yes, I was. Okay. In swimming, head is the same thing. So we did another exercise, okay? And when it comes to swimming, we've often been told that the water must hit us just in the forehead. Okay, so we're swimming and the water must hit us in the forehead, right? That's not quite right, all right? Because we need to be in a natural position when we go in there. If you think about a ship, okay, and it travels along there, if you put an anchor on the back and pull it down, what's going to happen to that ship? It's going to slow down, okay? Our head in the front, if it's up, okay, causes our bottom, okay, and legs to sink. If it's straight, it pulls up our bum and we go faster. Okay, and kicking helps to keep our bum up and stuff and so forth. But the first thing is your head. So if we have a look at this picture, okay, you'll see straight head, straight through, into the hips and down. You'll notice that his head is in the water. Okay, you can see there that his head's in the water. All that's sticking out is this little crown or yarmulke spot for me. Okay, not this part, this part. So it's hitting us here, not here. And even that difference, okay, will bring our bum up even more to make it easier for us to swim. So the first thing to reduce drag is to put our head flat. And we used our books again. I got everybody to balance their book on their heads, okay, and keep it straight. Now, if your head was up, the book would fall backwards. If it was down, go there. It's straight. Now, if I was to take my body and put me in the water as I am now, you would see that I'm looking straight down, okay? Straight down. My head is straight down. That's why there's a line in the pool, so you can follow it. And we must do that. Now, there's no line in the sea and no line in dams and rivers and stuff. But for now, whilst we're training, if we get our body into the right position and habit, okay, we can pass that on into the dam and sea and then work on our sighting when we're out there. Okay, so a lot of new swimmers are always looking up to see where their edge is because they don't want to bump anything, or they're looking up because they're so tired and they can't wait to get there. There's a T at the end of the pool line. You'll see most pools should have a T, and that indicates that you are by the end. So don't worry about having to look up, you look down. The other thing is, if I'm looking down, okay, whether I'm looking up there or straight down, okay, that little difference in that gap isn't much. So rather just relax your neck so that's in a streamline position, and that causes less resistance by bringing your bum up. So here you can see it graphically. So with my head up, okay, causes a whole lot of turbulence and it causes my lower body to drop down. With my head straight, I get that straight position which we want so that we can swim through the water a lot quicker and reduce the drag. Okay. The second thing we're going to look at is streamlined. Okay. Now streamlined is just obvious. Okay. If you're what would you call it? A massive ship or a barge. Okay. You've got a fat surface area. Getting through the water is harder. If you're a speedboat with that V hull, you're going to go through. Now, we don't always swim like this in the water, but I like to get people to use that because actually when we dive into the water, which most of our triathlon starts on now, we run and jump in, a lot of people forget that there's a little opportunity to get going in the streamline position, get your body ready, do the dolphin kick, okay, because you've seen in the Olympics when those guys do a tumble turn and then go under, they stay under the water for a long time. They don't do a bilateral kick, they do a dolphin kick because that's the most effective kick, but we'll look at that again later on in this video. So what I get everyone to do is put one hand on top of the other, whichever they're strongest with, okay, and wrap your finger around and hold it and put that out in front of you. Then I get you to stand up, okay, stand up and hold those hands like that, okay, and up you go. Now if you want even more, you can stand on your tiptoes, okay, and that'll extend you, but your body is streamlined. And that's what we want to get through the pool. So you start off with your hands together, and then you can open them up because we don't swim with them together, but you can open them up shoulder apart, and that's how you stand, okay? Streamlined. But your body, your core, your bum, your legs are all in that streamlined position. So those are the two things that we can do to make us go faster when we're reducing drag. And what I normally do is I just stand on the side of the pool before I get in, and I get into that position and I stretch. So I also stretch, Okay, but I'll also get into that streamlined position so I can feel it. Okay, proprioception, I'm feeling that. And the second one is increasing propulsion. So the first thing we do is distance per stroke. Let's have a look at that. So distance per stroke, distance, how far I'm going per stroke in the pool is important. The further I can go per stroke, the better for my swimming. So there's a couple of things we can do and we look at to improve the distance per stroke. And the first one is swolf or swimming golf. So you might have heard about this. It's a great little trick and people get all confused with the calculations and stuff. Basically what it is your stroke count and the time of that length. So we generally swim in 25-meter pools, okay? And that's where we do it. And then you have your stroke count. You count how many strokes you take per length. So for example, if it takes me 20 strokes, okay, and it takes me 30 seconds to do 25 meters, my swolf is 50. Okay, now if you have a Garmin, I'm not sure about the other watches, I only have a Garmin, so I know it does it for you. Not on your watch, you have to go onto your Garmin Connect program and you'll find it in the analysis under your swimming there. But this can be quite complicated. So what I do is I keep it simple and I just do the first part. Okay, I just do the stroke count. And all you have to do is count your strokes to the other side. And if it's 20, cool. Say to myself, all right, going back, I want to do 19. And you try see if you can do 19. And if you get 19, then you try 18. Sometimes people go from 20 to 16. Okay, straight away, just by mentally focusing on your stroke count. And that's a good thing. We're slowing down our stroke and focusing more on the actual propulsion that we're using there. So I was showing everyone yesterday, I think I put it on, that my stroke count over the last 6 months has averaged between 10 and 12 per 25 meters. Now, that's a target you guys can aim for. Not everyone's going to get to that, but you just want to be consistent and lower. You're never going to get to 1, okay? And if you can beat me at 10, that's fantastic. But 10 would be optimum for racing, okay? And the comments that we get called racing snakes, maybe into that one. But generally, there's factors, shorter arms, okay? You will need to do a bit more. But the idea is, when you're doing that, you're thinking about reaching and going for it. Okay, the second one is our catch. Now the catch is when we go into the water. Okay, and there's a number of things that we do here. So firstly, you can see this gentleman here, how far away his arm is. Okay, his arm is all the way. It's not next to him, okay, like this. It's not here, next to his head going in. It's far. He's reaching. Because what we want to do is we want to be able to get in, catch, and pull the water. So if we go in short, we've still got to catch, so we're going against resistance there. If we go in further, we're already there, getting ready for the next phase of this in order to get the pull and maximum out of it. Now, you might have noticed that I don't put my fingers together when I'm demonstrating this, and you'll see in a couple of pictures, people don't put their fingers together. Okay, 2 reasons. 1, if I put it in closed, I'm going to hit resistance when I go in the water, so there's a little bit of a gap for it to come through. And in the next stage, when we do the pull, it's actually about surface area. So I got everyone to stand up, put their hands on a step, okay? Or if you're in the pool, on the side of the pool, and try to push yourself up with your fingers closed. Boom. Try to get out the pool, okay? Then I said open your fingers a bit and try to push, okay? And what happens there is you've got a bigger surface area now. So when we're swimming, you're not going to go like this, okay? Just a little gap. And that gives us more of a pull. And what happens naturally is, although we have skinny fingers, our skin can still move. So when we pull that water, it pushes our skin and it forms not a complete web, but like a kind of web, and it picks up more water for us to pull. The other thing to notice is I don't put my hands in like that. Okay, you don't see anyone putting their hands in sideways. Okay, that doesn't work. All right, it goes in with these fingers hitting the water first, always. And one of the drills we can do there is called the finger skim. So you skim your fingers along the water before you put them in. Skim in, skim. So you're touching the water as you go. Now you can see my fingers are, these ones are skimming. I'm not skimming like this, or skimming like, or scheming like. Just kidding. You got to drag it across, put it in there. Okay, so that's one of the drills that we can do for that. The next phase is the EVF. And I didn't tell the guys what EVF stood for because I forgot. It was early vertical forearm. Okay, so what that means is when we put our hands into the water, okay, we want to be able to catch straight away. I noticed a lot of people, not a lot, a couple of our teammates, when we were swimming, you put your hand in and you reach up like this, okay, and then you go down. So you go in, up, and down. There's two motions there, okay, but you're also putting on the brakes against the water. So hand in, then down already, because your hand's in and then down, okay. So that's what we can do to bring that down. And there's a couple of exercises you can do for that. But you also notice that the hands are shoulder width apart. Okay, so for the reach and the early vertical, we can do catch up. So you either hold on to your buoy and then you catch it, let go of this hand, catch it, let go of this hand. And what that does is keeps your hands, shoulders apart, but it also gets you ready on this part to go straight down there. Then you can get rid of the float, okay, and then just use your hand. So you wait till this one comes. Once it's there, kick for two, then drop this one and kick for two. And that's called catch up, okay? But that's getting our hand to go straight down and get ready for the pull. Now the pull is the most important part of this whole thing. We want to catch as much water in here, pull it down, push it out the back and get rid of it, okay? So have a look at this video and see what's happening. It's pulling the water and pushing it out the back. It's like having a big ball. You want to get your hand over. So you've already got your early vertical forearm coming down. I'm getting that ball and I am pushing the water back. Now you'll see in here we put a ball in. There we go. And he pushes it backwards. So we're trying to get that. So the pull is catching this water, pushing it back. Catching this water, pushing it back. Okay. So there's not, I didn't really focus on these drills, but they're doggy paddle and underwater crawling, okay? Not egg beating like our water polo players, but we'll look at those in the next session that we do. The next part is the exit, and this is a part that's often forgotten about, is we collect all this water and then we push it out the back, okay? Some of us flick it away, some of us just turn our hand, some of us come up short. Okay, we just push it because we want to get back to doing our stroke. Okay, the idea here is to push the water as far down your hip as possible. And when you go and push that water down, it's cool to touch your hip. So you brush against your hip. And when you do that, it actually triggers some rotation, which we'll talk about in a moment. But for now, for the exit, it's just pushing your hand straight. You've collected all this water. You're pushing it out, using your thumb to touch your hip and getting it ready. It's obviously dependent on your body size, okay? Shorter arms, you're obviously going to come out shorter, but you've extended your arm all the way there. The last part for that is the recovery, and that's the part where we bring our arms back. Now, this varies for everyone. You get straight arm, okay? You get side arm, and you get over the top. It depends how flexible, your body shape, and what works for you. But so long as it's recovering, a lot of us are trying to throw our arm forward and throw it to try and get it back. This is recovery, okay? Whilst this guy's recovering, this guy underneath the water is doing the work. He's pulling. So this guy needs to recover, reach, and it starts again. Okay, so the recovery ones we can do there is like the zipper. So you come out the water and then you drag or touch. So you either drag to here or you touch here. That's why it's called the zipper, because you're pulling up a zip along the water, touch, and then bring your arm over. But again, that's up to flexibility on that side. Okay, so that's the distance per stroke. The next part is rotation. Our body rotating through the water. Now, some of us don't rotate at all. We just use all our arms and our shoulders, okay? The reason we rotate in the water is to get rid of the resistance. So if I rotate a little bit, the shoulder's out the water. It's not fighting it while I'm coming through the water, okay? It's out the water. Now, a a lot of people think, okay, cool, I'm doing that because my shoulders are doing it. With rotation, you need to think about yourself as a foosball athlete. You know, you've played foosball, soccer foosball, where you get all the players and they kick the balls. They got that pole going through them. You've got a pole going through you. Okay? Starts at the bottom part, whoop, out the top part of your top, and you turn like this. So the rotation should be done through the hips. Okay? The hips is what leads the rotation. Your arms are naturally doing that because we're trying to use our arms. We forget about our hips. If we do it with our hips, that allows for a clearer rotation. So let's have a look, see what's going on here. And we'll look at different angles. So there, you can naturally see his hips are going. You can't really see, his shoulders. You can't really see his hips. But if we look underneath, you'll see his hips are turning. So when he comes past, he's turning. So he's touching with his thumb on the exit and pushing it through. So you'll see the rotation. Now, a lot of people think, cool, I must rotate. Wee, and they really go all the way there. No, it's a little rotation from side to side that just gets your shoulders out, your hips out, and that helps to clear the water in the recovery for us to go. Okay, breathing, one of the biggest things that we struggle with. I'm often asked, do we breathe left? Do we breathe right? How many times do we breathe every stroke? It's all dependent. If you're a new swimmer, breathe. Okay, that's all you want to do is breathe. Okay, whether it's on 2 strokes, 3 strokes, 5 strokes, it doesn't make a difference so long as you're breathing. However, with the propulsion, if you are breathing, if this is the water and I'm turning my head, okay, but if I turn my head to the back, okay, I'm twisting my body and I'm over-rotating. Okay, when we swim, we naturally create a little channel here. Now, the first thing is, with our head, okay, being straight, we must turn straight, okay? Not up, out, okay? For natural breathing, we turn straight, and that creates the channel. Now, an exercise we can do, or drill, is you take your paddle, and you put it on your head, and you swim. A little bit hard, okay? But some people can do it a whole length with this paddle and breathing, keeping your head straight. Doesn't work the first time, but it's quite good. But what happens is, we create a channel. Now, a lot of people are, do you breathe out of your whole mouth? Okay, depends how tired you are, but generally, as you get better, and depending on the conditions, obviously waves and stuff, it's completely different, and then we change our breathing. Again, that's for another session. But generally, on smoother water, we just breathe out the side of our mouth. But that's also why I wanted you to breathe out your nose, because whilst it's coming out, you can suck in. If you're pushing out, okay, you have to wait till it's out before you can suck back in, so you don't get as much air. And that's a hard thing to practice, okay? And that's why we start with little exercises. Head in the water, breathing out your nose, making bubbles, okay? And the better you get at that, the flow will be better when it comes to that. So breathing, we do exercises like breathing every 2, every 3, every 4, and that's strokes. So I'll breathe every 2. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. 1, 2, then it's 3, 1, 2, 3, it's the other side, and then 4 and so forth, okay? And we try to extend that up to 5. And if you can do 5, you'll get across the pool quicker, but at the end you'll be pushing and you'll be out of there. But it's just to practice that. Last one on this side is kicking. Now, kicking is quite important because, as you can see in this picture already, kicking, if you kick wildly, okay, it can throw your whole body out and your streamline is gone. We just want to do little kicks, okay? We don't want to break out the water, make big splashes, because you're slowing down, you're causing friction. You want little flutter kicks, we call them. So when we do those kicking exercises, they suck, but all it's doing is strengthening your legs so that when you can do it, you do it for a lot bit longer. You'll notice we don't do that many kicking drills, although when we do it, it feels like it's forever, okay? Little kicks helps with our streamline to keep us straight, so you kick to keep yourself straight. If you're really out of line and you're kicking like this guy, you've got to go back to the basics with your streamline. One of the exercises I forgot to say about streamline is we get in the pool, under the water, we push and we just float. You just float and see how far you go. And then you start again from the wall and you try to push as far as you can and try to go further. Then you add little kicks to that and see how much further you can go behind that. Okay, so that's increasing propulsion. Equipment. What equipment do I suggest? Well, the most important thing I feel is the buoy, okay, or the pull buoy that goes between your legs. Now that simulates wearing a wetsuit, but it also helps beginner swimmers keep their hips up. I tend to use it throughout the set, but prefer to use it at the end of the set when I'm tired, just to kind of prop me up when I'm doing my warm down and so forth. Now you get different sizes. If you're a little person and you buy a massive float, your butt cheeks are going to be on top of the water and you might look like Loch Ness. Okay, so try and not buy the biggest one. Okay, if you're a big person and you carry a bit of weight, then get a bigger one. The next thing is your paddles. Now you get two types of paddles. You get a bent paddle and you get a flat paddle. My suggestion would be to get the flat paddle, because not only can you do it here and notice, fingers spread, okay, but you can also use the paddle for an exercise. I'm just going to use the book to simulate it here. You don't put your hand in the paddle. You hold on the top of the paddle, and that pushes against your wrist, keeping it straight for when you are pulling under the water. Okay, because sometimes our wrists go like this when we pull, especially when we're tired. Okay, so you hold it at the top, and that's an exercise that can help there. Highly recommend paddles, and you can always work together with these equipment. You don't have to do them by themselves. Next one is a snorkel. You might have seen the banter going backwards and forwards today. Decathlon, yes. The idea with a snorkel is, if you get used to it and you can use it, it allows you to focus on the drill. And what I mean by that is you don't have to worry about breathing. You just keep your head straight, you breathe, and you focus on the drill. And then once you're stronger, you take it out, and then you focus on breathing and the drill. Highly recommended there. And my last one is flippers. Now, not free falling or free diving flippers that are 40 meters long, okay? Just little ones to help with our flutters. If you've got big ones, you're going to be doing this, okay? Michael Jackson down the floor. Little ones to help you compensate when you are learning to swim. So if we have flippers on, makes it a little bit easier for us to do our strokes and techniques. So that's the equipment I suggest. You don't have to get it all, but I'd probably start with your pull buoy and paddles first. Drills. So here are some of the drills I spoke about: out of water streamlining, pushing off the wall. Okay, so two different types: hands together, hands open, okay, shoulder width apart, making sure that you stay flat and go as far as you can. The Swolf spoke about single arm drills. So single arm drills is just using one arm at a time over and over. And there's various ways you can do it. Best way to do is to start with a float that gives you some support while you're out there and you're learning to work it. As you get stronger, you just use your one hand, keeping your other hand flat, doing that. And then I showed some guys the underwater drill, but I'll show you that face to face just to help you. But for single arm, you just start with it there. Another one to do for single arm is to actually keep your arm by your side and just use the one arm. That's quite difficult, okay, and gets you really strong in the one shoulder. Catch up, I showed you using a board, so you catch up to it. Okay. The other one is finger skim, so you drag your fingers across there. Again, all these videos you can find on the internet. Okay, so there's the fist drill I didn't speak about in the pool, which is epic. So the fist drill is either you use a tennis ball in your hand or you make a fist. And you swim normally, but without having your fingertips out. It makes you focus on catching the water a lot more without using your fingers. So it becomes strong. It's a tough one, but I love it. And there's the zipper. So either you drag along to your pits or you touch your pit and then go. But that's the zipper one, making sure we get that high elbow action. And then just some references, if I've borrowed, which I have, some pictures and videos. Those are where they come from. So guys, that was the first session. Always appreciate your feedback and look forward to seeing you at the next one.